Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Hello, Jim. Thank you very much for having me.
This is an issue that we don't hear about or see on TV or read about in the major newspapers. Any ideas about why that is?
I'm sorry, what, the smart meters?
Yes.
It's because the media is under the influence of both the industry and the government. I think it's very simple that, they get a lot of advertising money from the government and from BC Hydro, and many of the media outlets are owned by the telecommunications companies. And as we know, the smart meters work with the telecommunication technology. Wireless devices that go to the collectors, that go to the cell towers. All of these companies are involved, and they really don't want us to know too much about how they work.
Are people putting up with smart meters now?
Right now, Jim, something is going on that is very disturbing. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been getting emails, dozens a day, plus many, many phone calls from people who are receiving threatening letters from BC Hydro saying that they have 10 days to allow Hydro full access to change their meters, or they are going to lose power. They don't say why they are going to exchange their meters. They are telling people that they have this form letter that says that you have refused access. In most instances, people have not refused access. They have their analog meters uncovered, fully available. Hydro has not tried to come to exchange any meter. They have not been refused the ability to replace an expired meter. They're not talking to people. People don't know what is going on. When they call Hydro and ask what's going on, many are being treated rudely, terribly disrespectfully. I have people like calling and saying, I talked to Jim, and Jim says, you have no choice, you have to take a smart meter. And people are saying, why? I'm paying my legacy fees. I have never agreed to a smart meter. And Jim or Jeremy or Mark say, you have no choice. This is illegal. According to the electrical tariff, which is our contract with BC Hydro, and BC Hydro has written it. They write it, we don't. They say that so long as there are legacy meters, non-smart meters available, people can keep them. And they pay the legacy fee. If people are paying the legacy fee, they will not have a smart meter forced upon them. Many of these people, and this is curious, Jim, people had been writing me for the last couple of years telling me that they have not agreed to a smart meter. They did everything that Hydro asked them to do, and yet they haven't been billed the legacy fee. Now, you and I both know that BC Hydro is incompetent in many regards, and their billing is just one of the areas in which they're incompetent. So when people have told me they haven't been billed the legacy fees, I say, well, consider yourself lucky. They've missed you. You're benefiting from their incompetence. Now, it appears that BC Hydro has all of a sudden discovered this error, and instead of coming to people and saying, you owe us 6 months, which is the maximum back billing Hydro is allowed to do, you owe us 6 months legacy fees, they're saying you haven't paid your legacy fee, you're going to lose your power if you don't accept a smart meter. This is illegal. The people said that they were willing to pay, and they have paid everything that they've been billed. It's Hydro's problem. They have not billed these people, so they can't say that they're going to penalize them now by taking a smart meter. In many other instances, people have paid their full legacy fees. I have one woman who is elderly, and she's sick. She's on a disability pension. She has been paying her legacy fees. She says more than $700 in legacy fees over the last 2 years. And Hydro came a few days ago when she was off at a doctor's appointment. She came back home and found a smart meter on her home. This is illegal. They cannot do this. And Hydro is refusing to talk to people. They are being so arrogant. And so I'm telling people to write to BC Utilities Commission, to Patrick Rook. His email address is patrick.rook, W-R-U-C-K, at bcuc.com. Send copies of letters, document phone calls, and tell them that you demand that you be treated the way the law, the way the electrical tariff says you're supposed to be treated. This is terrible, Jim, what's happening right now.
What recourse do people have if they've been run roughshod by hydro?
If they're being roughshod by hydro, their ultimate recourse is to get to the BC Utilities Commission. Now, of course, the BC Utilities Commission has been told by Bill Bennett not to get involved with the smart meter program, but BC Utilities Commission has the responsibility to make sure that BC Hydro enforces the tariff appropriately. When BC Hydro is coming and saying, you have to remove any obstruction around your meter so that we can get to it because it's in the tariff, people are doing it. Likewise, Hydro has to obey the tariff too. They wrote it. It is law. Also, people should be going to their MLAs and also to Adrian Dix and to John Horgan. Sadly, none of these people are helping any of the people who are writing them. But we need to inundate every MLA with complaints. It's the squeaky wheel syndrome. John Horgan told me that the MLAs respond when they get enough emails from people about a subject. They need to hear about this. They have to know what's going on.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
More and more people are looking to the internet for intelligent, riveting, and thought-provoking interviews. To advertise on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com, call 604-699-8600, 604-699-8600.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble, director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Sharon, what's happening in other jurisdictions with their smart meters, or the opposition to them, or the banning of them?
The opposition is growing in many, many areas. In New York, I'm just reading a report right now saying that they are looking at the smart meter program and they've determined that the benefits do not justify the costs, that they see no true benefits to this. Many places like New York, New Hampshire, other places in the United States are saying, look, at what's really needed is to upgrade our infrastructure. And if that were done in British Columbia, think of how the money could have been spent. Instead of having smart meters and all of these collectors and the billions of dollars that have been spent and will be spent maintaining this program, what if they had put the power lines underground in all the neighborhoods, not just the newer neighborhoods, but in the older neighborhoods too? When storms come and trees come down, the electricity wouldn't be disrupted. We would still have power. We would have them underground. It would be protected. Also, what about the transformers that are blowing? Many of them are blowing because they're old and obsolete and need to be replaced. It's time that investment were made where it's going to help us rather than provide no assistance whatsoever in providing this very essential service. Electricity is an essential service. People depend upon it for heating, for cooking, for washing, many for pumping water, others to keep their medical devices running. We need to have dependable electrical service, and right now we don't have it here in British Columbia because the money is not being spent wisely. I think in many other jurisdictions, they're looking at what has happened in Ontario, in British Columbia, in California, in Australia, where these programs are not working the way they're supposed to, and they're taking a second and very hard look. And in many places, the grid is not proceeding the way it is here.
Well, didn't the Ontario Auditor General come out with a report saying the billions they had spent on smart meters were not worth the investment?
Yes, they did, as did the Auditor General in Australia as well. The Auditor General in Ontario was very, very harsh and said that it was not a program that was well thought out, that nobody did due diligence before they began the program. I assert that if our Auditor General ever takes a look at this program, the same conclusion will be reached. It's time that we ask our Auditor General to look at this program. I'll tell you something else, Jim. I've been requesting a financial report. This program has been going on now since 2010. I have not seen a financial report saying how the money is being spent and where the money is going. Look at the legacy fees, which started in December of 2013. If we use the numbers that BC Hydro has provided, that there are 20,000 people paying $32.40 a month, and frankly, I believe that number is low. I think there are more than 20,000. But using their figure, that's $8 million of extra fees BC Hydro has taken in, not counting the failed installation fee and any of the other add-ons like the $77 to push a button to turn the radio off on a smart meter. What are those fees? Where's the total? And how are these fees being used? Also, what additional costs are being incurred for us to keep our analogs? We know that there are at least 50,000 smart meters that are being read manually for no additional cost. Yet we are being paid or charged $32.40 a month for the very same services. We deserve to know that these costs, how they're being, that the costs are real, what additional services are being required, and how much they've taken in. And I can get it. I've asked the BC Utilities Commission for the report, and they sent it over to the Smart Meter Program, and the Smart Meter Program hasn't provided it. Hydro is not providing any information about anything if they don't have to.
Have you heard back from the minister in charge of Hydro after sending him a registered letter?
In June?
In June.
Nope. And I've sent him 2 reminders. Neither have I heard from any MLA, and they all got copies. Nothing. And more fires are occurring. In fact, Len Garris, the former head of the Fire Chiefs Association, British Columbia, who's the fire chief for Surrey, has put out another report. I don't know yet how much he was paid to do it, but he was paid $15,000 for the first one. And in it, again, he says because there are fewer electrical fires reported, that means the smart meters are safe. As usual, and as it has been before, this doesn't make any sense. There are fewer reports being submitted, so that alone could explain the fewer electrical fires. The number of electrical fires are not that much less than they were, so his argument is not very strong in any sense of the word. His logic is lacking. But further, he's repeated something that he said before, that if there is a fire caused by electrical distribution equipment, that this means that that it was related to the meter. And he has provided numbers of electrical distribution fires pre the smart meter implementation, and it was 128. In 2012, 134. So there were 6 more that year. Then in 2013, 130. 2014, 138. And 2015, 108. I suspect that he's using these numbers, that I don't have any confidence in, but he's saying because the 2008, which is only till June of 2015, is less, that we should rest assured that there is no danger. If you tell me that there's 134, 130, 138, and 108 fires caused by electrical distribution equipment, which by definition is the meter, then I think we've got some major concerns. How can they say there have been no smart meter fires when their own figures that Len Garris is using says that there was? And I can confirm, I have asked for so many fire reports. Many of them say simply electrical distribution equipment was the cause. I've asked BC Hydro to give me an explanation for the type of electrical distribution equipment that is on the home that caused the fire, and they refuse. They hide behind the Freedom of Information Act. There's only one item on our home that can be called electrical distribution equipment, and it is the smart meter.
So a smart meter by any other name is still a smart meter.
Yep, and we have an admission by Len Garris himself that these things are catching fire, and more than pre-meters in in the last 4 years. This is crazy. How can anybody tell us that we should not be concerned about this? I don't understand. And I don't understand where the opposition is. Do we have an opposition party? I don't believe we do. The NDP should be jumping all over this. I've been handing them information for the last 4 years that they're not using. This is something that our government needs to step into. Our lives and our property are at risk here. It's not something airy-fairy. It's not something down the road that might happen, like with Site C, which has no justification. It's a waste of money. It's happening now.
Sharon, anything else you wanted to tell us today about this issue?
My concern right now, Jim, is that BC Hydro is threatening people, and I would like people to know that they do have a recourse. They should not put up with this threatening behavior by Hydro. They should be reporting it. They should be complaining loudly to the BC Utilities Commission, to their MLA, and to John Horgan. I would ask very much that people do that, and I would also ask them, send me emails about it. I would like to know what's happening out there. I'm getting so many, but I want to hear from everybody who is being subjected to this.
And what's the email, Sharon?
director@stopsmartmetersbc.com. Also, Jim, I would like to take just a minute to tell people that the lawsuit, the class action lawsuit, is going to be heard in Supreme Court in Vancouver on December 7th through 11th. And the plaintiffs would really appreciate having support. It will be open to the public, and I will be posting this on our website and in my updates in the next couple of days, full information. But I would like people to block this off, because this would be a very good opportunity for the public to show their support for the plaintiffs who were fighting this on their behalf, and to show the court that many people care about this issue.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for chatting with us.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. The website people should go to for more information is?
We have two of them. One is www.stopsmartmetersbc.com, and the other one is www.citizensforsafetechnology.org.
Thanks again, Sharon.
Thank you, Jim.
You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Comments about the show can be emailed to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.